my name is Logan Hushar. I'm currently a sophomore here at Waldorf, and I'm studying history. For this methods project, I chose to base my project on the Third Servile War in Roman history, also known as the Spartacus War. This was how Rome severely underestimated how Spartacus was going to be defeated. The Spartacus War was a slave rebellion during the years 73 to 71 BCE. 70 gladiators escaped from Cornelius Lentulus Vadiata, who were led by the Thracian Spartacus. Spartacus has a very interesting past before his life in chains as a gladiator. He was a Thracian warrior who fought alongside the Romans in the Roman auxiliary, where he learned different types of Roman war tactics that would eventually help him in the future when he fights against the Roman legions. When Spartacus fled from the Roman auxiliary, he was branded as a litro, which has many meanings: thief, bandit, or highwayman. It even has the meaning of guerrilla soldier and or insurgent. With Romans calling Spartacus a litro with so many meanings, it's hard to depict exactly what Spartacus was doing when he left the auxiliary. It could have been any of those things. When Spartacus was sold into slavery, he was bought by Gnaeus Cornelius Lentulus Vadiata, who was a lanista, which is a person who trains gladiators to fight in the arena. Spartacus was a heavyweight gladiator called a murmillo. It is told that a murmillo is a man of enormous strength and spirit. Spartacus arrived into the arena at the age of 30. Murmillos carried 35 to 40 pounds of armor and weapons in the arena. Gladiators were shoeless in the arena as well as bare-chested. This was to show off gladiators' tattoos, which Thracian culture had worn very proudly. Murmillos wore a bronze helmet, a belted loincloth, and different arm and leg guards. They carried a scutum, which is an oblong shield with a gladius, which is a 1.5 foot long, broad, straight blade. A gladius was a common weapon during this time period and was a standard weapon for Roman legionaries. When Spartacus and his men escaped from the ludus, they slaughtered everyone who was nearby. They did so by retrieving meat cleavers and other weapons from the kitchen and made the start of the escape. They eventually escaped in the nearby city of Capua and laid low for a couple of days before attacking a caravan containing proper weapons to become an even deadlier force. They eventually traveled to Mount Vesuvius to decide what their next move in action would be. They freed many slaves on their way to and from, gathering a formidable army. To begin with, the first battle Spartacus had won was the battle against Claudius, who was a praetor of Rome, who had been sent to deal with Spartacus. Claudius was accompanied by 3,000 against Spartacus, roughly 100 people at this time. Claudius had hoarded Spartacus and his men on top of Mount Vesuvius, where they were going to be starved to death. The mountaintop had lush roots where ropes were fashioned to have men get down. The Romans were arrogant and did not see this move coming. Spartacus's men climbed down, then the man atop the mountain threw weapons and laid siege to Claudius and his men. Spartacus's army then made their way through the Roman Empire, with fields being left with crimson blood in their army's wake. Spartacus used guerrilla tactics against the Romans as well as many different styles of gladiatorial arts and Thracian maneuvers. Spartacus wreaked havoc on Roman legions. Spartacus knew exactly what the Romans would do from having spent time in the Roman auxiliary. After Spartacus had dispatched many Roman warriors and praetors, the Senate had to come up with a new plan. The Senate eventually chose Crassus to raise an army to go and fight Spartacus. Crassus was a wise military man and positioned himself on the borders of Picenum, expecting to be attacked by Spartacus, but it did not happen. But Spartacus was hastening towards the Alps. It's hard to tell what made him turn around. Half of his army had split off and made the march towards Rome, but the other half hastened towards freedom. The group was attacked and they had won. Plutarch says that the reason they turned back towards Crassus was to save their other part of the army, but also that Spartacus couldn't control the army due to them being so bloodthirsty for more. So Spartacus and his army raced back towards Crassus for their final battle outside of Lucania. It was a fierce battle raging on both sides, but unfortunately Spartacus and his army failed in defeating Crassus. Crassus did not get the credit for defeating Spartacus due to Pompey returning from Spain to defeat the remaining portion of Spartacus' army that had tried to flee, and Pompey took the credit for slaying Spartacus. Not everyone died on the battlefield that day. Over 6,000 slaves were crucified on the Appian Way, which is over 400 miles long.